In case you're wondering, my cupboard is full of black t-shirts. I've got a lot of black t-shirts. In fact, so most of my t-shirts are black. So if you watch me on YouTube, by the way, please subscribe to YouTube. I'm often wearing 9 out of 10 times I'm in a black t-shirt. I'm like Matlock. Remember the guy in the court with the grey suit? He had a cupboard full of grey suits. So I've got a cupboard full of black t-shirts. Okay. So did I mention subscribe to my YouTube channel? Yeah. Thank you very much. Bit of an awkward start to the morning. I don't know if you've experienced this. You're on your computer and you often see, do you want to do updates now? And you delay it, you delay it, and you delay it. You click on no later, tonight, to remind me tomorrow. I've been doing that for months. I made the mistake of clicking yes, I'll do updates. So that was at 8:30 in the morning. 45 minutes later, that's how long it took for everything to update. So you can't sit and watch kettle boil. I'm very proud of myself. I used that time, brushed my teeth. Normally I only brush my teeth after the show, to be honest with you. I know you can't tell my bad breath. My daughter has been using my computer. This keyboard, you see how clean it is? It's still slightly red. I cleaned the keyboard, I cleaned the screen. Did some work. Actually did some work, looked at invoices, did the auditing, clear, click, fulfilled, told the customers, thank you very much for your order. I will message you as soon as I know when your order has been credited off, I will tell you. So I've done all this stuff. Because I'm under pressure. I'm not, my Bernice is not happy about this podcast. Have I mentioned that before? Of course I have. She's not happy. She doesn't like me doing this podcast. But there's mixed messages. If you're on YouTube and you can see my video, carpet, Bernice's idea. She says, let's put a nice carpet for your show. Those were her exact words. Mixed messages. See behind me, the nice blankets right behind me that Bernice knitted. There's the monkey, there's the schnauzer blankie and the more colorful pink blankie. She put her idea. This couch on my left, Bernice's idea. Don't know. Mixed messages. I'm getting a lot of. I was told, one of my consultants, Lawrence, he says, make sure people can see this. This is my mug for keeping up with the Calvaries. How am I supposed to do that? I mean, what, balance it on my head? No. Can't do that. So, where was I the last 2 days? I did allude to it. I did say that it's Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and but I kind of like hinted that I'll still do the show. So that didn't happen. Bernice actually said she suggested, don't do your show, but she said it very casually. But I know what that means. Casually means don't do the show. And, look, I'm not that observant. But, it's all about appearances. I can't, this is a Jewish podcast. I'm a Jewish podcaster. Can't, and then do a show on Rosh Hashanah. You can't do that. Where's your credibility? Look, credibility. Look, I don't have credibility in many other aspects. But at least, if you're gonna call yourself Jewish, you can't work on Rosh Hashanah. And also another major reason. Now, in this world, in this anti-Semitic world, and in this non-Jewish world, Christian world, Muslim world, Hindu world, in the workplace, people get resentful if your Jewish colleagues are not working because of their Jewish New Year. They're not working. But then why is Damon Calvari? He's Jewish. He's doing his podcast. Why is Selwyn Schlinterovitz not at work today? If Damon Calvari is doing his podcast, you see, that's the reason. To support the community. Don't do the show. So I've got to be careful. Haven't done the show for 2 days. A lot of build up. a lot of backup of like information in my head. I've been thinking, my mind's been, because I haven't done a show for 2 weeks, I've got to be careful. I don't want to just blow my load. You don't want to blow your load. You don't want to just, you know, imagine you had an orgy, you had a sex club. I've been to a sex club, just observational purposes. Imagine, you arrive at 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night. Everyone's naked around you. This is a good analogy. I think this is a good analogy. And in this case, I've got all this information in front of me, all these naked maidels. And boom, you blow your load. Boom. By 8:10, boom, you've blown your load. What do you do for the rest of the night? You eat. Hopefully there's food. I don't know. Yes, there was food at that one place I went to. Yeah, there was food. So what you got to do is you got to mingle, walk around, observe, play a bit. Then maybe by 8:30 you've blown your load. Then, I don't know, go home. I don't know, just going on what people say. Purely observation, purely for professional reasons. I visited a sex club. I got sound bites for Gareth Cliff's show on 5FM back long time back in those days. So I've got to take it easy. Just there's too much to talk about. I probably won't get to everything. During the Jewish New Year, I think, I stand corrected. I don't know if it's this or is it next week with Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. I think you're supposed to look at your life, look at the past year, supposed to reflect. But I don't think I think it's officially just about reflecting on the last year. But maybe it's a time you're reflecting on your life in general. Have I been good? Have I been bad? I think the term is, am I going to be in the book of good or in the book of evil? Well, there's a scale that gets weighed. So it's a time of contemplation. And what do I contemplate? I'm thinking to myself, this is what I thought. And I didn't give it a lot of thought, but I thought, Damon, don't give it thought now. Wait for your podcast. Wait for the recording, because otherwise it's going to be stale and you're going to have gone over it too much and it'll sound too rehearsed. I look at myself, I look at my religious observations, and maybe you also go through this experience, and I think most of us go through this experience. Do you question yourself? Am I religious enough? Am I observant enough? Am I going to church, to shul, to synagogue, to temple, to mosque, to temple, and then to temple, and then to... Is there a God? Should I be praying? What is I don't know, I don't want to say the meaning of life, because then immediately I think of Monty Python, and then everything just falls apart. And I think to myself, should I be more observant? And then I stop myself and I think to myself, no. If I was more observant, it would be a sham. I'd be inauthentic. I would be like irritated. I'd be irritable. Because it's just not me. I can't do it. It wasn't a choice. I didn't purposefully say, I'm not religious. I think you got to have it in you. You've got to have it in you. Maybe it's my ADD, attention deficit disorder. You've got to really concentrate and be intelligent and, I don't know what you're doing. In terms of Judaism and religion and going into the synagogue, I've never known what I was doing. There's a part where they pick up the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, and all the men, can I say they rush out their chairs? They kind of do. They kind of rush out their chairs and to kiss the Torah, to kiss the 5 books of Moses. And I thought, I'm not going to do it. I can't do something if I don't understand why they're doing it. And then you say, well, find out why they're doing it. Educate yourself. You Philistine. That's what somebody's probably, that's what maybe you're thinking. It's just not in me. It's just not in me. And then you have children, or in my case, just one child, and you feel you are obligated. Even though I'm so irreligious, I still feel obligated for my child to know her heritage, to know something about Judaism, to know that she is a Jew. So I took the easy way out. You send her to a Jewish school. It's the easy way out, I suppose. But then I should perhaps take her to synagogue. That's where that's what I should do. I don't know, what am I doing? What is she thinking? She's thinking, Dad, you take me to a Jewish school, but we never go to synagogue, we never go to shul. Don't know. Those are questions that you ask. So, don't know. You can't force these things. Oi, excuse me. Can't force these things. Things have got to happen organically. You know, how did this podcast happen? Left Cliff Central, end of July 2015. Bernice and I carried on for a little bit, then we stopped, then we started, then we stopped, then we started. Eventually, it took 6 years. Eventually, just do the show by myself. It just works better. Then I'd do the show once a week. And that didn't work. Then I stopped again. Then I realized, do a show every day, because then you're in the flow. But one of my therapists, now my wife tells me you're bad at therapy. You don't do therapy well. But I did take my one therapist. I think that was therapist number 4. I don't remember their name, so it's therapist number 4. She was nice. She said to me, do something creative. Find something creative to do. Can't you join a radio station? She said to me. I laughed at her. What radio station? What radio station is going to take? And then eventually, it only dawned on me about a week ago that I'm doing this. That's what she said to me 18 months ago. And this podcast is important because I do the podcast in the morning and I feel that I've done something good and it gives me a fulfillment. It gets my day going and I'm happy. I'm thinking, oh, I've done something constructive. I've done something good. Bernice doesn't see that. It's a hobby. It's not making any money. Okay. But I'm enjoying it. Can't you have some enjoyment in life? Yeah. That's the way I see it. I don't know what you think. I hope, anyway. Just something to think about. You've got to do things you're passionate about. But the things you do passionate about, if it's not making money, you still got to be doing other things that are supporting you. Ideally, in an ideal utopia, your job is supposed to be your passion, but not always realistic. Yeah. Heavy criticism, bit of feedback, very valid criticism. It's something that has been in the back of my mind. Something along the lines of, Damon, you seem quite passionate about sport and you covered the Olympics quite well. Well, okay-ish. This is not a sports show. You haven't said one word about the Paralympics, somebody said. And that can come across, that does come across as really bad. It shows a lack of empathy. It shows a lack of depth. It shows a level of ignorance. It shows a level of perhaps callousness, a level of irrelevance, perhaps. And those are all valid attributes, and I accept it. But there are other attributes that, in my mind, in my perception, far override all those criticisms. It's going back to being real, being authentic. Being authentic is one of the most important things about broadcasting, doing a podcast, doing a radio, being on the radio or broadcasting. Got to be authentic. I know this sounds terrible. I don't care about the Paralympics. I'm sorry. I admire the people. I think they're the competitors. It's amazing. And I have sympathy, I have empathy, I have admiration. But I can't watch it. I mean, last week there was a photo of a Chinese swimmer, no arms. He lost his arms in from an electric shock incident. Don't know the details, mate. Was he trying to connect electricity illegally? That's not for me or you to question. I can't imagine. I can't watch this man with no arms swimming. I just can't. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel uncomfortable watching disabled people doing stuff. Even though, I mean, I admire them. I can't. And then one of the things that is unavoidable that also doesn't work, it's not user-friendly as a consumer, as a viewer. They'll say, Gerry van der Merwe or Tulisizwe Sindane won the T63 something. They got all these codes. He won the S99. He won the T12. Who knows? Nobody knows what those things mean, except the competitor and their families and the officials who are running the Paralympics. But they don't have a choice. You can't have an event called the 100 meter for armless men. You can't have the one-legged 200 meter sprint. You have to call it the T200 or T2. But who's to sit down and learn all these things? So I just got to be real. I've got to be honest. If I reported on the Paralympics and went into details, it would have required major deceit, a huge effort to do the research and then pretend that I'm passionate and interested about it. I can't pretend to be passionate and interested about something that I'm simply not. So let me just buy out of this topic by just saying, Kol hakavod, well done to all the Paralympics. I admire you. I'm sorry I didn't report on it and compliment and support it. I can't. I don't know what to say. It makes me feel, did I mention it? Makes me feel uncomfortable. And I feel bad about myself. I do feel bad about myself. I do. I know it's wrong. Okay, there was one of the other stories. This guy, Alderman, they call him Alderman J.P. Smith. Now, he's in the City of Cape Town's Mayoral Committee of Safety and Securities, and whatever that means. So he's addressing some kind of a gathering at the city's film industry. And the MC was up, the MC Abongile Zelenzele. I mean, I said it all right, in Zelenzele. So Abongile and Zelenzele introduces J.B. Smith. J.B. Smith, this is like a major story at the moment. This is like trending. People are pissed off. He says, he comes on, this J.P. Smith, I'm not even going to try that surname, dude, Abongile. It's too many vowels, too awkwardly placed. And he's taken quite a bit of criticism. He says something along the lines of, J.P. Smith is much easier. So let's try and be objective. Let's try and be understanding of old J.P. Smith. Let's just try and be objective. I don't know J.P. Smith. I don't know if he's DA. I assume he's DA. He's probably a little bit nervous. He probably did Toastmasters years ago, or Dale Carnegie, or some other. He went to the voice clinic, and he was given the advice, crack a joke. Do a joke at the beginning. It will set you at ease. It'll break the ice with your audience, and it'll warm things up, and you can just flow into it. Maybe that's what he was trying to achieve. Huge failure. I'm the first to, I admit this, I do often mess up African names, but not just African names, Serbian names, Russian names. I mess up in general, but I'm not proud of it. I mean, I'm ashamed. I'm not proud of it. Now, Abongile and Zelenzele is actually not difficult at all. But J.P. Smith, at the end of the day, even taking all those things into consideration, you were just huge failure, huge embarrassment. It just casts you in a really bad light. I don't know how J.P. Smith slept last night. I don't know whether, maybe by now he realizes that it's just unacceptable. It comes across as racist at the end of the day. And maybe J.P. Smith doesn't understand racism. A lot of racists don't understand racism. A lot of racists think that you're not racist if you don't say bad things about black people or other people, minority groups. As long as I don't say anything bad about that race, then I'm not a racist. It doesn't work that way. By definition, a racist is somebody who sees another race or another minority group as inferior to them. But they don't actually say it, but they will say things that indirectly prove that they think or they don't perceive this other race or this other minority group as equal to them. So J.P. Smith, by saying, I'm not even going to try your surname, Zelenzele, it's insulting. He doesn't realize that he's insulting the guy. He's basically degrading this Abongile and Zelenzele. Busy saying your name's not important enough for me to make an effort. Indirectly equals racism. He thought he was making a joke. It's amazing. I mean, it shows, you can be a racist, but you could be clever enough to hide it. So J.P. Smith also is not the brightest bulb in the chandelier. There are some racists that are intelligent enough to know that their racism is not acceptable. So they will hide it cleverly. And I've got more respect for that kind of a person because at least they acknowledge that they are wrong and it's unacceptable. So at least they're making an effort to hide it away. It's okay. Talk about being irrelevant, being out of touch with reality. You have to be really out of touch with reality and really not know what's going on in the world to try and make a joke like that. It's 2021. I'm not even going to try that surname, dude. Wow. Abongile and Zelenzele. Huh? I can do it, please. Yeah. Woo. What more can I say? Is he DA? Let's not go into a DA thing. You know what I'm thinking. If you're a regular, if you're familiar with me, you'll know what I'm thinking. Just try be relevant. Try be relevant. So the other big thing that's been going on, I think I spoke about this on Monday. Jacob Zuma's medical parole. So what do you make of that? You've had 2 days. You've had 2.5 days to think about former President Jacob Zuma's medical parole. Kinshmanen. Are you still digesting it? And I've been digesting it, and I've been thinking about it. And this morning I thought to myself, let's try and look at the deeper meaning, the deeper analysis, the long-term thing about this medical parole. It goes without saying that it seems unjust. It obviously doesn't seem right, but what is the long-term what kind of a long-term message does it send to South African society? It breeds a culture of lawlessness. Because we see the instances that happened a month, or is it 1.5 months ago? We had the unrest, the looting, the violence, KwaZulu-Natal and some parts of Gauteng. it's setting a really bad example. It's telling society that you can break the law. There'll be no consequences, and that's what it all comes down to. And Arthur Fraser. So Arthur Fraser, he was interviewed on one of the SABC TV channels, and Arthur Fraser, he's the commissioner of the Department of Correctional Services. He said that the medical parole is legal and procedurally correct, but he also admitted that the Medical Parole Advisory Board did not approve medical parole for Jacob Zuma. According to the board, Zuma was in a stable condition. But this National Commissioner of Correctional Services, Arthur Fraser, reviewed Zuma's conditions and took the decision to release him. Has Arthur Fraser ever done this for anybody else before? And it's a well-known fact that Arthur Fraser has a long, close relationship with Jacob Zuma. And just sends a really, really bad message. And now let me give you some, how does it relate to me personally? So I got an SMS yesterday from SARS, South African Revenue Service. Dear taxpayer, well, oh really, am I a taxpayer? Dear taxpayer, we inform you that you owe 4,000 Rand. To avoid any legal, can't remember the exact words, legal actions, please pay this amount timelessly or phone this number, 08 whatever, to organize the thing. So I'm thinking, what legal action? Legal action, Tell you, if I got an SMS like that 25 years ago, I would have like made a plan and boom, paid that money as soon as possible. Well, I'm not. Nee. Kushbentochus. I'll take my time. What, you're going to come in after me for 4,000 Rand? I'll take my time. I don't have 4,000 Rand. Please, there's so much corruption and stuff going on. We become lawless. Lawless. That's what I say. Anyway, I don't think I've blown my whole load. There's still a lot more to talk about, but let's take it easy. Let's not do an hour-long show, even though that is very tempting. Let's leave it for now, and we'll see what we can do tomorrow.